Bruce Holly's remarkable story is an inspirational roadmap for business and life. His message that it's the who, not the what, that grows a business cannot be discounted. Michael Rosenbaum has captured the essence of this phenomenal leader. And that's what our event is tonight, and here is Michael Rosenbaum.
Thank you. Of course, that's what I was going to read for my presentation, so I'm not sure what to tell you now. When I told people I was writing this book, there were two questions that I got mostly. The first was, what's it like to fly on a jet that you don't have to go through security for? And the answer is, it's really cool. But then the second question was always, well, what's his secret? Because everybody that I know in business and everybody that I know who's not in business has the same question. How does somebody do what Bruce Holly did? And the funny part about it is I give people the same answer all the time. And I'll even say it knowing Bruce is sitting over there, and typically he's not grabbing the limelight, he's sitting and watching and enjoying, I hope enjoying, but not taking the limelight for himself. But I tell people the same thing. Bruce Holly doesn't have a secret. There is no secret to Discount Tire. There's a lot of common sense, 10 commandments, basic golden rule stuff that is the lifeblood and the backbone of this company, and that is the secret. And the secret is applying that set of lessons that everybody knows to be true consistently and in a disciplined way, year after year after year. And so one of the things that I love doing when people ask me things, I'll say, well, here's a secret. Write this down because it's really critical. And nobody else knows this. Say, hire really good people. And they'll say, and I'll say, no, that's just write that down. Hire really good people. Because I've had the honor and the just great fun over the last couple of years in working on the book to go around the network. I actually got a chance to spend a few days in Tahoe, which is just a terrific experience, and not just because of the food, which, by the way, I liked, but because you talk to the guys who populate the company. You go into a store. When I go into my store in suburban Chicago, when you go into any store and you talk to guys about their life, about the business, about the company, there's this sort of attitude and perspective that they have. And it's, I'm here to serve you, and I'm getting a kick out of it. And then you as a customer get a kick out of it. So rule number one is, hire good people. And when I say it, everyone looks at me like it can't be that simple. And of course it is. Hire good people, give them the tools, let them loose. Then we'll say, okay, what's another one? I'll say, well, if you had a forklift and you found that the forklift was too big to get down a particular aisle, say, well, would you throw the forklift away or would you find another aisle to put it in? And people say, well, I'd send it down another aisle. A forklift's too expensive to waste. And I'd say, yeah, okay, here's another secret. Treat people the same way. If a person isn't quite performing where they should be, try to figure out another way to get them to perform better. Don't throw them out. You wouldn't do it with a forklift. Treat a person just as well. And people say, well, that's obvious. I say, yeah, that's obvious. But if you go through the world of business, what do you find? People don't do that. Okay? People don't treat people as well as they will treat a tape measure. But here they do. People will say to somebody, well, yeah, you're a store manager. You can earn X amount of dollars, and here's your cap. It doesn't matter how good a job you do after this. That's it. That's all you're ever going to earn. And then they're surprised when people get to their peak and they stop pushing. I say, okay, so here's another secret. Let people have the opportunity to earn more money and get promoted, and they'll perform more. They'll do more work. And people say, yeah, and? I say, no, that's it. So I'm here to tell you that what I learned in the way of secrets that Bruce Holly has is that there are no secrets. There's just a discipline to do the right thing day after day after day and find people who will do the same. And that's the whole secret behind the company. That's the whole secret that Bruce Holly has revealed to us. And that's what makes this such an exciting and fun company, both to write about and to visit, and I'm sure to belong to. I know every day is nothing but beer and Skittles. There's no rough days in the company. Okay, maybe one or two. But what makes it all worthwhile is a sense of being part of a team and part of a group. And I got that reflected all over the place as I traveled around the country doing research for the book. And somebody said I should also talk tonight about the human element of this. You know, don't just talk about the business, talk about the human element. And I also realized there was another secret that I learned that wasn't really a secret. And that is, there's no difference between the business and the human element. Business, like the rest of life, is ultimately about people. In a business, we pay people to serve other people. And the important part of that is finding a way to connect to the people, to your employees, to your customers, to your vendors, to your coworkers. And again, no secret, it's a discipline to do it day after day, year after year, until you finally get it right. And I know a lot of guys will say around the company, you know, one of these days we're going to get good at this. And I'd like to tell you really are already, but I'm sure you can get better. So that is really the essence of the book. There's so little that's complex here that I hardly know how to talk for the next 2.5 hours they told me I should speak for. So if anyone has questions that they would like to ask or things they'd like to discuss, why don't we do that?
Well, I had a question. Maybe this is more of a comment about the book, but probably so you guys can hear. I mean, what a lot of us think when we see Michael Jordan make a shot or whatever, we go, the guy was born with it, you know, God, I wish I could have been born Michael Jordan. I think a lot of us think that way about Bruce. You know, he's always been that way, but I thought the part that was fascinating about the book is, you know, Bruce was kind of a learned behavior. It seemed like he actually learned to be Bruce, and I thought there was kind of an element of hope or learning for the rest of us in the book, in the sense that, well, I guess you can get better at this. You don't have to be born. But did you get that sense, Michael, in talking to him, that he wasn't always this way, and that he actually, you know, through trial and error and the way we all thrashed around, figured it out? Or
well, yes, and
was
thank
born
you,
that way?
thank you for that question, person I've never met before. Yes, in fact, that's one of the cool things about it. Because when I go in and we do interviews, I'm doing a book tour, as you can tell, and doing a lot of interviews. One of the key points is anyone can be Bruce Holly. That doesn't mean everyone's going to go out tomorrow and open a tire store and make billions of dollars and so on. But if you look at what he did and what he continues to do, and one thing I really like about Bruce, I'll say something nice about you here, is Bruce is one of these guys who continues to work on getting better. And he's a really cool guy right now, but he continues to work on getting better, and that's a lesson also for all of us, that there's always room and we can always work on it. You know, Bruce started out with a poor educational, his grades weren't that great. He had a number of challenges, both financial and otherwise, and he overcame them. He worked to overcome them. He kept working and working and working to get better and better. And the result is today he's Bruce Holly, but he wasn't always Bruce Holly. You know, at some point he was, you know, Bruce Holly, just some guy. And so when you look at people who are self-made like this, you see that there's a process, and the process is to continually work, to strive, to focus on what you can do better. And if you work at it long enough and hard enough, this is what happens. So I think you're right. There's hope for all of us. It's just I'm getting started 70 years too late. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
In all your business writings, have you ever come across an individual more willing to share his success with all his people like Bruce does?
I have run into a number of people who are very generous. I have not had a model. And by the way, in my other life, I do business consulting, and so I've worked for a lot of CEOs of public companies and larger corporations. And the answer is no. I have not run into somebody who has who's had the discipline and created the kind of culture and legacy that Bruce has. No. Actually, Diane Holly had been interested in finding somebody to write a story about Bruce's life. And Marilyn Seaman, who works with Diane over at the foundation, she and I had done some consulting for a number of years together, and we'd also written a book together. So she recommended that I come out and talk to them about it, which I did. And by the way, I had to tell you something about this because, like I said, Bruce is very modest and so on. When we first had our first meeting, Diane really wanted to have the book written. She thought it would be great, that people should read Bruce's story. And Bruce sat there saying, I don't know why anyone wants to read this. It's not a big deal. And it was classic because, you know, he really has that disciplined humility that a lot of us, you know, could benefit from in life. Other questions? Yes, sir, in back.
It seems that a lot of people who got started in around the 60s were able to put something together and make something. Do you think in today's climate here in the States we still have the ability for someone to do that?
Yes, I do. And by the way, I thought about this a lot because one of the questions that comes up as you're writing a book like this is, how does somebody learn from this and what can they learn? So if somebody follows this model, can they succeed, or was this a one-off thing? So for instance, if you're going to go out tomorrow and invent computers because that's a skill you have, you're too late, computers were already invented. And if you're going to go out tomorrow and open up a newspaper, you're kind of too late because nobody's doing newspapers anymore. But when you look at what Bruce did, we can replicate it. And for the same reason that we were talking about a few minutes ago. You go into business to serve customers, you pay attention to the customer, you look to build a long-term business relationship, you don't worry about making the last dime on every sale you make. You try to find some way to get people to like you and come back. None of that has changed in business, no matter how many microchips you put in your phone. So yeah, I think people can still do it. And it's a matter of really figuring out what you're in business for. I was talking to someone, a lot of the stuff I'm doing in this book tour is with business publications and so on. And one of the key points I make is you have to know what it is you're selling. So a lot of people, if you said, what does Discount Tires sell? They'd say, well, they sell replacement tires. And Discount Tire does not sell replacement tires. Discount Tire sells tire replacement. Tire replacement is a service at which you can excel, and you can't differentiate your replacement tire from the one at the store down the street. So what is it you're selling? What is it the customer's buying? They can buy a tire, they can buy the same tire anywhere, but they can't buy the same service anywhere. So if you can differentiate the service, then you have a success. And so in asking that question, well, could you start over today doing that? Sure. Doesn't matter what the product is. How do you differentiate your service? How do you make the customer want to come back? And that's within everyone's power if they make the effort. Does that answer your question? Well, I think other... Yes, sir.
Michael.
Yes.
What was the key element that made you decide that you wanted to write this book? I mean, because you could have said, no, I don't want to do this, or I want to do somebody else's book, but why this and about Bruce?
Okay. The thing I just mentioned. Everybody was telling me how great Bruce was except Bruce. Okay? And there's something intriguing about that. Okay, we all live in a world where you turn the television at night and there's Donald Trump. And he's firing people, he's telling you how great he is and so on and so on. And all these guys, and a lot of guys in business, who will tell you that how great they are. And so I'm walking into a place where all sorts of people would like to have this guy's life story told except for him. So I'm thinking, either this is really a great story, or there's going to be a lot of dirt here that I can uncover. So clearly I was disappointed, but I'll live with it. Other questions?
Right here, Mike.
Oh, yes.
What was your favorite part of writing the book?
My favorite part of writing the book is when I was done. You know, it's really a tough process, because here's what happens when you're writing a book. All sorts of people come up to you and say, well, you should write about this, and you should write about this, and you should write about this. And so people will say, oh, did you know about the check he wrote to this, or did you know about the thing he did? And by the time you get done, it becomes this list, and it's all great, except people will stop reading after the third or fourth item. You have to figure out what it really is. I think one of the cool parts of it was, and there's two chapters that I really love. Okay, in the book, I love the whole book, but there's two chapters I really read. One is The Lost Boys, okay, about all the guys that have made a life at this company, who started out pretty much the same way Bruce Holly did, you know, without a particular direction, without a particular goal in life, but started here, loved it, kept going, worked their way up, okay? That to me was, I said this on the, I don't know if anyone watched me on television yesterday. If you did, thank you, and if you didn't, I was great. But one of the things I said is, you know, we all watched as kids, you know, It's a Wonderful Life. And George Bailey runs around and he doesn't really appreciate his own life until he sees how he's affected other people. And that chapter in the book to me is a little bit the same, because it's about how someone's legacy gets carried forth among people who decide to follow and who benefit from their experience in the company. And even if they did not get personally hired by Bruce Holly, they're living in the wake that he's leaving behind. Another chapter that I really liked in the book was the Tahoe chapter. Same thing. Running around Tahoe, talking to these guys, having them tell me their life story and what they love about working here and what it's really a great experience to hear and to talk to a lot of guys, some young, some old, all of them younger than me, who are talking about what they see in this company and what they see in the way of an opportunity. And that goes to Joey's question before about whether people can do it today. People can do it today, and they are doing it today, and they're just doing it at Discount Tire. We can't have Bruce Holly sitting here having me saying nice things about him without asking him to make a couple of comments. Would you like to make a couple of comments? Come on. Okay, you can be brief.
All right. Michael, I thought this was your night,
Yeah.
and I'm here to listen to you.
Well, you did.
Did any of you see Michael on TV yesterday? Well, when Michael was in the office today, and Marlene was there, she heard me say that after seeing him on TV yesterday, I said to myself, I thought I watched the Academy Awards the other day. He was just wonderful, just like he is tonight.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and thanks for coming. All right. Thank you. Are there any other questions, or should we wrap up? Okay, we can wrap up. All right.
Michael and Bruce are going to sign books in the music department. If you'd like to buy one, they're on the table in the front. And just please line up in front of the music department, and you can get a signed copy of a very good book. Thank you for coming again.
Am I full time?
Okay.
I'm gonna wear you out. Hi, Mr. Hall.
I'm doing great.
Yes, that's my...
My name is Roger,
Okay.
R-O-G-E-R.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.